Hey guys, what's up? This is gonna be a match from the StarSoc World Championship Series in-house tournament, and this is from Division 1, so the Masters division, Masters and Grandmasters actually technically. And in the bottom left position, sorry, we do have Elliot spawning as the red Terran. In the top right position, we have Gizmo spawning as yellow Protoss, and the map is going to be Neo Planet S. That is the starting map for this week. We have a TVP on our hands, and this map is pretty interesting. The third is really weird to secure for all races in all matchups. I feel like natural is just this choke over here with no ramp, so you will be able to see across without much problems. And the map itself is pretty small, so the rush distances are pretty good for sort of a lot of timings. In TVZ, a lot of people are doing Baneling busts and Roach all-ins and things. TVP though, I'm not too sure. Protoss seem to be pretty passive in the early game, unless they go for some sort of proxy Stargate or they do some gateway all-in off one base. Especially blink all-ins are pretty good. Kind of annoying though, so the Terran really needs to scout that out. But apart from that, as long as the Protoss expands, it's kind of up to the Terran to kind of dictate how the early game goes. A lot of people are liking the Widowmine drops. There was a bit of discussion on the Facebook group as well about that. But overall, solid build. Widowmine drop into expansion into Bio Medevac. But we'll see. Elliot, he has a pretty cool playstyle. It's pretty standard, but at the same time, he has his own little twists that he adds. One example is that he doesn't really like to put add-ons on his barracks. If he has, let's say, like 5 barracks, he'll only have one tech lab on one of the barracks, just so he can research stim and combat shields and concussive shells if he wants. I asked him about this, and he just said, lets him build more units. You don't have to waste time building the add-ons, and later on, if you need tech labs, you can just add them on without having to lift up and replace the reactors with tech labs and stuff. So I mean, yeah, it's a pretty there's some pretty good reasons why to play like that, and but I mean it's a preference thing, to be honest. Like some people like to do it, some people don't. And those look like it's gonna be a one racks expand, so old school Wings of Liberty style for Elliot. His SCV is in the main base of Gizmo to scout out what's going on here, and he sees pretty standard play, 2 gases, but if he looks closely, he should probably see that there's only 2 guys in each gas. So this is pretty cool play by Gizmo. Actually, I think he did this to me as well. And as soon as the SCV leaves, he puts 3 back into gas. Interesting. He could be opting to go for some sort of tech play, but it does look like he is just going to get the early mothership core and probably expand behind this. If he really wanted to early tech, he would have had 3 guys in both gases straight away. He will probably just use his gas for sentries or more stalkers. And the Mothership Core will move across the map, and these days, Mothership Core pokes with Stalkers and Zealots at the front is pretty popular, and it can be pretty hard to hold up. Looks like Elliot going up to 4 barracks instead of the standard 3. This is probably because he doesn't want to add any add-ons. He does want to have that production be on par with reactor barracks and so forth. But yeah, the 4 barracks should give you a lot of marine production, and if he decides to go for some sort of marine pressure to try and pressure this natural, he could do pretty well for himself. But we'll see what he opts to do. The expansion does go down for Gizmo, and this probe's over here. Oh, okay, it looks like he goes for 1 gate Cybernetics Core Expo into a robotics facility straight away. This will let the pros get the observers out really quick to defend and hold off Widowmine drops, which, as I said before, are really popular these days. So this is a pretty nice safe build for the Protoss to ensure that it doesn't die or lose too many probes in the early game to drops. But yeah, this will put his unit production quite a bit behind compared to the 3 gates after the Nexus into a robo. But at the same time, this will also let him get faster Colossus out if he opts to do so. And it looks like the Forge is coming down. This is really greedy, actually. If you go for a robotic facility this fast and you kind of neglect to build more gateways, you could die to some sort of marine pressure at the 8-minute mark, and that could that's a very big possibility just because of how many Marines Elliot can crank out at a time. Only now is securing his three gases. Okay, three gases to try and catch up to the fact that his gases were so late. It does look like he's placed two turrets, one in the main, one in the natural, because I guess he did spot the double gas, so he was worried for some kind of expansion DT drop play, and that's smart, safe play, you know. And the fact that he hadn't mined gas until this time means that all of his SCVs were mining minerals, so he did have that minerals surplus at that time. So I don't think this damages his build in any sort of way. Tech Lab is coming down as well. This engineering bay could start upgrades pretty soon as he has enough gas. An observer kind of positioning itself at the front of Elliot's base because at around 9:30 to 10 minutes is when a Terran usually pushes out with medevac and a lot of Marines. And the Protoss really wants to see that coming and kind of prepare appropriately. Two more gateways being added. It looks like Double Forge is the name of the game, and that's pretty greedy by Gizmo. Delaying, he's been on one unit producing structure except for this robo, which has only built one observer until like the 8-minute mark. So that's been really big risk actually on his part, and he is going to try and compensate for this by adding a earlier robotics bay to try and add the Colossus on earlier, and also the fact that he has sentries quite early on will mean that he will be able to buy time with force fields if the opponent does do a early medevacless push at the front. But I feel like Elliot will just wait for, yeah, the starport as well as the medevacs to finish. Stim is not even halfway done yet, so I doubt he'll push out without Stim just because of how much more cost effective they will be with that. Combat Shield is also starting. He has added one more tech lab, so two barracks with tech labs, two without, adding a second starport to try and catch up to the fact. I wonder if he scanned. Knows that this robo was out pretty fast, so I think he suspects that because he got his initial starport late, he will want to try and compensate for that by adding a second starport. Because if Colossus are out and you don't even have a medevac out yet, you want to start with Vikings, but at the same time you really want the ability to heal your bio. So this is a nice way, nice smart play from Elliot coming out here. I wonder if he'll add another reactor, but it doesn't look like he will. Triple area unit production is pretty good. He is producing a Widow Mine from this factory, using all the unit producing structures. A good choice by him. He is still in 4 barracks, and that's fine just because he has 2 starports and a lot of resources are being sunk into that. The Protoss, though, on the other hand, adding gateway number 4 and 5, his army is so small at this point. At the 11-minute mark, he has 1 Colossus, 4 sentries, and 1 Zealot. That is and a Mothership Core. This is really risky, and if Elliot, I feel like if he plays this right, he should be able to deal some significant damage. You know, if force some force fields at the front and then try to maybe drop into the main, wouldn't be a bad choice either. 2 stalkers are in the back. Unfortunately, that's not gonna be enough to hold off a drop. A cannon here should help out though. The 2 cannons here should help out a lot. Yeah, now that number has gone up to 4 stalkers. So if Gizmo scouts right, he should be able to prevent any sort of drops. Second Colossus is out as well. Elliot, I feel like, shouldn't engage into this. With this choke over here and the Nexus cannon available to him, as well as this many force fields with the Colossus, he shouldn't be able to do too much damage. But he does poke in at the front to see what's up. He does force activation of the photon overcharge, and that's not bad for him. The upgrades though really coming out ahead for Gizmo. 2-2 is halfway done, while +1 armor is not even halfway done yet for Elliot. So yeah, that's gonna put Elliot quite far behind in these if he trades now, just because of the upgrades and how cost effective these Colossus will be without the Vikings. But he's holding a nice position here, holding a nice concave. If the opponent does try to come out here, he will be able to catch him in this choke. But yeah, I think Elliot just wants to contain his opponent while he secures his own 3rd base. His 3rd is about halfway done. Viking count is increasing quite a bit. He is at 5 medevacs. That's a really nice count. He doesn't really need to make any more for the meantime. Adding 3 Vikings at a time. I'd like to see him. Yeah, there we go. Army as well as a second eBay being started here. Adding perhaps ship weapons wouldn't be a bad idea. But he is kind of low in the gas, so that's understandable that he's not adding it yet. Once he secures this third, though, Elliot needs to make sure he adds this, the right amount of unit production facilities to try and back that economy. And Gizmo going up to 7 gateways as well as Templar archives, so he's going to tech into Templars as well as Zealot charge before he tries to secure this third. These Zealots moving over here to take out these Marines, and he will probably secure this third pretty soon. He does have a huge bank though. His macro is slipping quite a bit, therefore his supply is also quite a bit down compared to Elliot's. And Elliot is transferring the right amount of SCVs to his third. His natural and main are exactly saturated at the amount that they need to be at, and with the Viking count building up to 8, I feel like Elliot could try to push in before Storm finishes, maybe kind of catch that timing, maybe even snipe this third. That would be really nice for him. But Gizmo is adding a lot more cannons. He looks like he is, yeah, he just likes to add cannons in his bases so he doesn't have to, concentrate too much against drop defense. Templars here as well to try and feed back the medevacs as they try to boost in. Yeah, this is pretty much impenetrable. These two, 3 cannons actually over here with the 2 Templars should be able to hold off any sort of drops. And Elliot moving out, posturing his army into aggressive position, and I feel like this could go either way. Storm isn't, he has no Storm out. He has no Templars here to try and storm. And that's a big mistake by him. These Vikings having no problem taking out all the Colossus right here. Force fields were pretty good, but Elliot just had so much more stuff there. And with only Stalkers to tank for this Colossus, I feel like Gizmo needs to pull back to his natural. Yeah, force fields preventing the enemy from charging forward. The final Colossus does get sniped, and all Elliot needs to do is pull back and snipe this third. Ooh, he eats a big storm there, but with this many medevacs, he should be able to heal up pretty nicely. The army of Gizmo is trying to come around here to defend, but with this many Marauders, these Stalkers are just going to melt. And yeah, I feel like, yeah, Elliot just needs to stim forward, take these out, and then take this third out. Behind this, he is macroing quite nicely, adding more barracks over here. And yeah, Elliot is banking quite a bit of minerals though. He did kind of wait a bit too long to add on the extra unit producing structures, but having sniped this third, he should feel pretty damn good. Now all he needs to do is add ghosts, or just try to overwhelm him with the pure economic lead that he has. He does have a 60 supply lead at this point, and he should be feeling pretty good. The only advantage that Gizmo has going for him is that 3-3 is okay, +3 attack is finished, and +3 armor is on the way. +2 armor is just about to finish for Elliot, and +3 attack has only just started, so Gizmo will be at an upgrade advantage for a while. The only problem is he is at a supply deficit, and he doesn't have the resources right now to resecure his third base. And Elliot on the other side is just making a lot of bio ghosts being added at pretty much the perfect time here. He knows that Gizmo can't really push out just because of how damaged his economy is and how small his army is as well. Let's see what kind of... yeah, 12 barracks as well as 2 starports and a factory. That's pretty nice for a 3 base economy, especially because a lot of the barracks didn't have any add-ons on them, but now adding mass tech labs onto these barracks, and this is a good choice just because you can produce basically pure marauder, ghost marine with some marauders in there. Like eventually you just kind of phase out, you want to phase out all the marines just because of how good ghosts with 3-3 are against zealots, and with the marauders you want to mix in a bunch of those to make the army a bit tankier and to really pick off the stalkers and the armored units in the Protoss army. But Elliot moving into the 3rd position yet again, he was going to try and deny this. Nice snipes going down on these Templar actually. And the army of Gizmo is kind of out of position right here, trying to hold this off. He does have a bunch of Templar here to try and do some damage. Ooh, and nice feedbacks going on to the ghosts, and he has no EMPs left. Storms do land, doing quite a nice job, but I feel like the army is just too small for Gizmo right now. Half Elliot's army is actually targeting that Nexus. Yeah, and this is going to be GG for Gizmo, and Elliot takes the win in Game 1. Really nice, solid play. Interesting though how it works out when you don't add add-ons onto the barracks earlier on. It means you don't have to interrupt the building time that you usually would, and that lets you build a lot more units, and securing those gases late really let him kind of have a lot more units out earlier, and with adding a secondary starport that early, really let him catch up on the medevac as well as Viking count, and that's what really let Elliot kind of, you know, take that game. And so we'll be moving on to game two pretty soon. So see you guys there. I hope you guys enjoyed this one.